Good afternoon, early evening. Thank you for joining us. I am Rabbi Shmuel Lynn with my brother over there, Rabbi Dr. Yosef Lynn. I'm coming to you live from Philadelphia. He's coming to you live from Jerusalem, all the way over there. And this is the fifth final installment of the 5-part summer series, the 5 Avenues to Well-Being. And tonight we'll be focusing on the fifth of those avenues, accomplishments. And this is all, of course, as you've been with us, based upon the science of positive psychology, and which was founded by Dr. Martin Seligman. And there are many ways in which that can be dissected. My brother, being the expert of that, having received his master's degree in positive psychology from the University of Pennsylvania with Dr. Martin Seligman, and gone on to institutional psychology with his PhD. He is our scientist and our expert here in the science of positive psychology, and I hope to bring you the Jewish take on that, or how we can translate that not just into our regular lives, but even into our Jewish lives, and how Judaism teaches us those concepts as well. We have 40 minutes with you tonight, and to share with you the science and the Torah, and of course to bid you farewell. But let's just talk a little bit about this. If it's your first time joining, then this will be new. Otherwise, it's a good review. There are many ways to cut the cake, so to speak, of the science of happiness, positivity, which includes longevity, health, job satisfaction, marriage, and it's been divided in this particular iteration into 5 parts, and that is called PERMA, the positive emotions, engagement, positive relationships, meaning an accomplishment of the bigger picture, the umbrella of positive psychology and a life of happiness and success. And so we have now done positive emotions and engagement, positive relationships, and meaning, and tonight we're going to focus on accomplishment. Positive psychology, as we have said, is used in many fields today. It is a booming industry, so to speak, in therapy, positive education, military training, positive health, consulting. It is used in resilience training as well for the military. And what we enjoyed doing the last 4 sessions and continue tonight is to have what's called a positive intervention with you. And now I will say that myself, this has been a self-positive intervention because we've been able to do this together. I've had the great pleasure of working closely with my brother and putting our heads together and trying to make something out of this crazy coronavirus COVID time, and how we can sort of move the needle on the meter and change the trends. I did, Yosef, just see today, I think it hit all the news stations, that divorce rates have gone up by 34%.
Unbelievable.
Okay? And over 50% in new marriages from this time period of March till wherever we are now of 2019. Okay, so people need to watch this program. We're going to have this up. We're going to have a website dedicated to not just these 5 sessions, but all of the pertinent reference material as well, and videos and links and things you can read, because it's just basic like oxygen in a world where there isn't any right now. Okay, so it's time to get into it, and I want to turn it over to my brother, Dr. Rabbi Dr. Yosef Lynn, and get into this 5th piece of the puzzle here of what does it mean to accomplish, what does it mean to achieve, and why is that one of the critical pillars of what will ultimately result in your happiness and success. Okay, so thank everyone for joining, and looking forward to wrapping this up and making it complete. And with that, Rabbi Doctor, all yours.
Okay, thank you so much. So this last element is really crucial, especially in today's society where we are so goal-oriented, we are so task-oriented, we are trying to achieve so much, especially in our professional lives. And this one is really important, and it's actually quite amazing that when people aren't able to accomplish, so there's a lot of issues that usually come up in the world of self-esteem. So I want to try and give just a brief kind of summary of some of the key elements of the science in the world of accomplishment, and just some really amazing kind of nuggets of insight into how can we really set goals and actually accomplish those goals. And it's really quite awesome. So I want to just get into it. As far as the world of accomplishment is concerned, it's really quite amazing, and the impact that it has on our well-being when we succeed in some sort of endeavor is huge. And that's why it is a crucial part of the PERMA formula. And really what it does more than anything else, it actually impacts our future. About, when we accomplish goals, it impacts us being able to accomplish goals in the future. And every time we accomplish a goal, it really has a huge impact on our well-being. Again, it's like I mentioned before, especially in the world of self-esteem. But there are many different types of accomplishments. We get so focused as one kind of accomplishment, but when you look in the world of accomplishments, there's actually many different types. And based on your personality, you may have certain types of things which you see as an accomplishment. And to me, that would be anything but that. But the world of accomplishment is not just limited to some sort of professional accomplishment. It can be all over the place. But I want to kind of break down some of the key factors in the world of accomplishment, and we're going to move through them right now. What I want to start with is something huge, which is the world of willpower. And the world of willpower, and much of what I'm going to speak about right now is based off of this book, which I highly recommend, by Roy Baumeister. And it's a really phenomenal book. But the world of willpower is like this. Is that great? You have this goal, you want to accomplish it, fantastic. But a lot of times we have this split of what happens with us, which is what we feel like doing and what we know we want to do. And that struggle can destroy us, or it can be the real path to success. And that struggle is really everything. And that struggle right there is the struggle people refer to as self-control. But that's really the world of willpower. And however much willpower you have, that is basically the understanding of how much can you choose the right thing to do, even though you may not feel like it. And in his book, in this introduction, he says that based on the research that they have, that there's two things that lead to real success in life. The first thing is IQ. And he says very clearly, there's not much you can actually do about that. A person is born with a certain IQ, so therefore, good luck. But the second thing, what they see is willpower. And the more a person can use this muscle that actually gets depleted over the course of the day called willpower, that leads to success. And he says that's something which we actually can change and we can work at it. So therefore, let's try and invest some time and energy into figuring out how to become better at using our willpower. In the world of self-control, probably one of the most famous studies out there that all of us have seen commercials about, or they've done some modern day kind of renditions of it, is the famous marshmallow test. This was done at Stanford in the late 60s and early 70s. And what they did with kids is they wanted to see how much could kids delay gratification. And what they did was they, put something in front of a kid, and they said, you can eat this now, a marshmallow, or if you're able to wait for a period of time of about 15 minutes, then we'll give you double what we're going to give you now. And the question was, how much could the kids kind of hang on and resist the temptation which was in front of them right now? Meaning, could they override what they felt like doing in order to do the right thing, which was for them to get that double portion? And what they found is that the kids who were able to delay gratification actually led to some pretty amazing results. And the results are quite awesome as far as what the life outcomes are of these kids that were able to delay this gratification. And some of the things were whether it's better SAT scores, whether it's educational attainment, different things. But they really did a lot of research, and they saw that these students or these children that were able at a young age to kind of tap into this idea of willpower, that this whole intervention was really a kind of a deep insight into how much success that could bring someone if they could learn how to use that muscle properly. Going beyond that, kind of the next level of intense kind of this intense willpower and this real intense level of self-control is a science which people have probably read about, which is the world of grit. And Grit is a wonderful book from Angela Duckworth. And it's really, as it's said right here, is that it's passion and perseverance for long-term and meaningful goals. And what she discovered is that people can have talents, and those talents can be amazing things for you. But no one succeeds just on talent alone. And therefore, what does a person need to have to actually make those talents come alive and to accomplish things? And what she found that it wasn't just talent alone. People needed something more. People needed to have a certain drive in them. People needed to be able to push themselves. And that's what really is about the idea of grit, which is almost a higher level of self-control, the ability to see self-control out for a period of time. And that's this idea of grit. And it's amazing, just some of the research that has come out of this. And the question really becomes that if we see it's so important for people to have to really be able to push through things, and all of us have experienced that, the question is, how do you become gritty? And that's really the million-dollar question that's being dealt with in the science right now, because it's one thing, let's say kids or even individuals having talents, but those talents alone aren't going to get us to where we want to get to. We have to be able to push through. We have to be able to see out the world of self-control for a period of time. And therefore, that's called being gritty. And there are some different pieces of advice about how a person could be grittier. And these are some amazing things. One of the pieces of advice which I like, which is quite powerful, is the world of number 6, which is join a gritty culture, which is a topic which we won't go into right now, but it's about the idea of influence, and the environment we're around has a huge impact to our ability to be gritty and therefore to be able to accomplish. But let's go a little bit kind of in a different direction. Now that we covered willpower, and then we went to the afterburners of willpower is this world of grit. There's a whole world of, okay, fantastic, you have all those things. But people are amazing at doing something. They're amazing at setting very poor goals, meaning you have great intentions and you're ready to work hard, but there's a whole science of actually how to set goals properly. Because a lot of times people set goals in a very abstract manner. I want to work on my anger issue, or I want to become healthier. And there is a whole theory out there, which is, it's quite amazing. And it's from Edward Locke, and it's called goal setting theory. And what he spoke about was the idea that what people really need to do is they really need to make sure that their goals are very focused. And when our goals are broad and our goals are general, you could have the best intentions in the world, a lot of willpower, you're a gritty person, but at the end of the day, you won't get anywhere because you're not going about it in the right way. And it's extremely important when we set goals, you have to do it in the right manner. And goal setting theory is a crucial part of people being able to set themselves up for success. That when you do set a goal, if the goal isn't worked out properly, I mean, if the goal is not, doesn't meet the right characteristics in order for you to actually be able to accomplish it, so even with the best intentions and everything else behind you, you won't get there. One of the most famous examples of goal setting theory is the world of SMART goals. And SMART goals are really, really, really awesome. I use it all the time with my students in my own personal life. And SMART goal is basically, there are 5 elements to a SMART goal. And the elements are these 5 elements, which is specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-based. And what this is like this. If you have a goal that you want to accomplish, what a person has to do is a person now has to run it through these 5 elements. And therefore what you do is you take your goal, you want to work on, you want to stop biting your nails, you want to go to the gym more, you want to work on your anger issue. When now you set goals, you got to make sure that you're setting goals in a way, you can't just keep them general. You set a goal and you have to run it through and make sure that now when you're setting that goal, that it hits every element of this SMART structure. And this world of SMART goals is really an awesome thing. And it's really quite amazing. And the impact that has been seen of when people actually use SMART goals is actually quite amazing. And it just leads to such an awesome situation where, more than anything else, what I've seen just in real life examples is that when people accomplish goals, what that does more than anything else is that it puts you on the path to be able to accomplish more goals in the future. And so many times people, they try and accomplish a goal, but because they don't go about it in the right way, even if they have everything behind them to be able to actually do it, but they don't accomplish the goal. So all of a sudden that leads to people saying, you know what, let me stop trying to set goals. Let me stop going after goals. Once a person gives up in that sense, so the world of accomplishment is unfortunately a reality that doesn't really exist anymore. But this idea of SMART goals and what can come out of it when people actually set goals properly is an unbelievable thing. So those are some, like, three fundamental ideas, whether it's the idea of willpower, whether it's the idea of even more acting on willpower to that nth degree, which is the idea of grit. And then when it comes to actually setting those goals using this idea of goal setting theory, if a person takes these areas into consideration, you really understand them, and when it comes to actually accomplishing, it can not just be a reality for you one time, but it can become a consistent habit in your life. So with that, I want to hand it back over to my brother to take us a bit deeper into the world of accomplishment from a Jewish perspective.
I'm muted. There we go. Thank you, Yosef. And I will say that being here in Philadelphia, talking about grit, the Philadelphia Flyers are trying to pull themselves back from the brink of elimination against the Islanders there in the NHL playoffs. And Gritty is the Philadelphia mascot, that big orange glob. Okay, so we're supposed to have that here in Philadelphia. But okay, let's sort of bring it now to the Jewish side of things. I think when we talk about accomplishments, I think like we are wildly programmed. I mean, like programmed for this as a people in many different ways. The first thing, obviously, we're talking about avenues of well-being. We're talking about positivity, positive psychology, happiness, and joy. So as we discussed previously, there are numerous words in the Hebrew lexicon for different experiences of pleasure. And there happens to be a famous one that's called simcha, which most people know about. And number two, I think the second on the list of well-known terms connoting happiness would be sason. And those two things go together, simcha and sason, all the time. In English, one's going to be translated as happiness, and one's going to be translated as joy. Now, if I ask you, like, okay, tell me what joy is, like I'm feeling joyous today, or I'm feeling happy today, I don't know that we're going to come to some unanimous conclusion as a swath of testing ground over there for the English language. Happiness, joy, whatever, but in Hebrew it makes a big difference. And this idea of simcha, which we discussed, but there's this idea of sason. And the idea, which is translated poorly as joy, but a new word, is a specific type of pleasure that comes from accomplishing. It's the experience of perfection, of joy, of happiness when something is completed. Simcha would be the anticipation that you're working towards a goal, to whatever degree that the goal is clear and true and great and is going to bring you to another place, and you're working hard to get there. There's a joy in, there's a happiness in that. That's simcha. But immediately when you arrive, right, you're experiencing then the sason of having arrived. And it's a little bit of a paradox, because the happiness you feel on the way there is only commensurate to the grandiose purpose of the goal. And then the second you arrive at the goal, the happiness you feel is only a direct result of all the work you put in to get there. Okay, so but there is a word called sason. We have that, and it's key, and it's part of the lexicon of 10 expressions of joy, of happiness, that you have to know and you have to have. Where do we see this? So I have a 12-year-old son at home, and we're practicing for the bar mitzvah. We as a people have a remarkable rite of passage, bar bat mitzvah. It should be known that for women, it's 12 years old. For boys, it's 13. And that is because I think all science will bear this out, that the intellectual and emotional maturity rate of a female is faster and than a man's. Even the physiology of the brain, a woman's brain will mature more rapidly than a man's. I think it's in the early 20s on average for a woman, and late 20s for men, which will explain a lot of things for you women that are like, seniors in college and just post-college. Explain everything pretty much. Okay, but we have this amazing intellectual rite of passage, and it's like the accomplishment there. It's incredible. It's not just a party and a way to have our equivalent of their debutante party. It's an intellectual rite of passage where a child is considered to be given intellectual faculties that can be used. And that normally the presentation to the community as such is a very serious undertaking of study, of preparation, of performance. I mean, it's a major event, right? And the accomplishment that comes from that is really meant not just for the joy of the moment, but really kind of like to hardwire the system and set the stage for that as a Jew goes through life. That this is when you become part of the Jewish people. When are you counted? You're counted because you're considered to be responsible enough to take on the responsibility, so to speak, of mitzvot, of carrying the weight of the continuity and of the Jewish people and our mission statement in this world. It's a huge moment, and that accomplishment is really meant to all of a sudden be like the Pavlovian response that every Jew has to any challenge in life, that the accomplishment that's going to come from this challenge is going to be ultimately so sweet and the reason why we grow. Okay, now I'll take you to another area which was evidenced this past winter, and it's a pretty remarkable thing. We have this thing called the Talmud, which is the body of work that houses basically the entirety of Jewish life and law. It's there from moral ethical teachings to the minutia of Jewish observance of life and death and everything in between. And it's compiled in this thing called Talmud. And that Talmud is really a compilation of millennia of the greatest scholars putting all of their ideas in the understanding and the appreciation of Jewish life and law. And it's a huge work, and there has been a custom for many years now to actually join a curriculum of study, which would be a page a day. And it would take you 7.5 years to complete the entire Talmud. And so just recently, we had the completion of the 14th cycle. Yeah, I'm remembering 14th cycle, meaning 14 times 7, okay? 7.5. Of the completion of this thing we call Shas, the entire Talmud. And the celebration is something called a siyum. This word siyum means a completion. But even when you finish something small in Judaism, you have to have a siyum, you make a party. How much more so when you finish the biggest thing that's out there to finish? Every single day, rain or shine, doesn't matter if it's Yom Kippur or graduation, doesn't matter what. Every single day you have a page of Talmud to learn, and the page is not like reading a little, page of the newspaper. You can spend a month on a page, okay? Deep, difficult, logical. You can't just read it and not understand it. Logical concepts. And it takes a lot of perseverance and persistence. And so here we have a few pictures of this recent, what we call Siyum HaShas, the completion of the entire Talmud. This was MetLife Stadium on a freezing day. I was there, and there were 90,000 people there, and a celebration. Not everyone who was there, by the way, completed the Talmud, because it's something. There are a lot of people there that were, but even every Jew came to be a part of the celebration because accomplishment is the key. And the beauty of it is, what do you do at a Siyum? You finish and then you start again. Like there's no, and oh God, fine, did that, put that one away, bucket list, mark that. No, you got to go through it again and again. You're always coming back in life and accomplishing even greater levels of achievement built upon what you've accomplished up until now. So this Siyum HaShas, where there were hundreds of thousands of Jews around the world celebrating in every major stadium around the world, this incredible accomplishment. It really is something that has grown with the advent of technology that makes it applicable to even the layman, the lay Jew man, okay, who can study this. And you have little kids doing it. People don't speak a word of Hebrew. It's a really, really a remarkable thing. And I think it's the most incredible testament to who we are as a people and what accomplishment means to us. And I'll leave with one last thing. My brother's going to speak about accomplishments in this world and how it infuses your life here with meaning and purpose and happiness. But let's talk about another life. When we say l'chaim in the plural. One of the reasons is because it doesn't end here. When we're done here, it's not over. There's a life up there as well. It's a complex system. It's a real place. It's a real entity. We experience things there, not the same corporeal way we experience things here, but there's the real deal. You continue. This is axiomatic in Judaism. And there is an accomplishment there, okay? That is the construct and the sum total of the work that was done here. And we take that really, really seriously. And it's not just a nice little thing, pearly gates in heaven, woohoo. It's a very deep, enriched experience of what you created yourself to be when you were here. But there are classically 6 questions that are asked of you in this world. And they're good indicators as to what we're supposed to be looking at in this world in terms of when we get there. We discussed last week, there are career goals and there are tombstone goals. Like, what do you want on your tombstone? What's going to be that ultimate true happiness? Because I will tell you a secret. In Jewish philosophy, there's a little bit of Kabbalistic study right now. But the whole purpose of creation is for joy, is for pleasure. That's all God wants to give us. And quite remarkably, our view of this world that awaits us is a place that we would consider a pleasure dome. It's created for the express purpose of allowing us and affording us the opportunity to experience the greatest amount of pleasure that there can be, that a created entity could ever experience. And you have to shed our mortal coil, so to speak, to get there and to experience it. But what you experience there is what you created yourself to be here. It's an amazing thing, very deep. Not for now, but very beautiful. But there's but that's what you have to know. The ultimate joy is the accomplishment in this life. So you got to keep your eye on the goal the whole time and realize there's a place where that joy is going to come, where that pleasure is going to come, and that's going to be the ultimate goal of the result of what we do here in this world. I'll give you these 6 questions that are asked, okay? In the Talmud, in the tractate dealing with Shabbat, on page 31, it says the first question you're asked is, were you faithful in business? That means you had to be in the world. There's a marketplace down here. Whatever you do, you're doing something in the world, interacting with the world. Usually money has something to do with it. Like, were you honest? Were you faithful in your business? I gave you a world. It was incomplete. You had to go into the world. You had to do business and take care of it, feed your family, and deal with money and all these things. But did you do it ethically? That's the first question. Second question will be, did you set aside times for Torah study? That means God's asking us at the end, listen, you have busy lives, things get crazy, were you stressed out? Sure. But did you make it a priority? There will be a time of my day, there are time of my week, whatever it is, it's time that I'm not moving from, it's there, and it's there for me to connect to the wisdom of Torah, connect to the source and the instruction manual for life. Did you make a time to do that? That was fixed. Third question is, did you engage in bringing life into the world? Okay, raising family, big thing. The number 3 question: did you? I want to let's talk to. Let's bring the wife and kids in here and see what's going on over there. I don't want to hear your accomplishments. I don't want to hear how much money you made. All I want to know is you made it ethically. All I want to know is that did you make sure no matter what you took time to study Torah? And I want to know, did you bring life into the world? Number 4, did you hope for salvation and redemption? Were you a hopeful person? Did you spend time here thinking about how the world's got to be a better place and how it's got to be a perfect place and we have to make things right and the lion will lie with the lamb, etc.? Was that part of your living consciousness? Number 5 is, did you engage in the battle of wisdom? Okay, wisdom is a battle to become wise, to fight for it. It's not just making times for study of Torah. Now, you have to make the time. That's question number 2. But this question is, did you battle for wisdom? Did you come up against difficult concepts and things and battle back and forth to get clarity? And the 6th one in that vein is even more subtle. And did you understand and interpret? Did you take all these ideas? I want to know, God's going to say, I want to know, did you take all the wisdom that you had in life that was available to you, and did you incorporate it into your lives? Did you intuit it? Did you make it part of your nature? Okay, those are the questions that we have to answer there. And we want to make sure we get the answers down here. And I really think if you listen to what we've been doing these last few weeks in this summer series, that you'll see that we were really talking to those points. Okay, that's the big picture, the ultimate pleasure, the ultimate joy, the accomplishment of life. I want to bring my brother back on now so the two of us can chat a little bit about now, how do we make this, like we do every week, how do we make this practical? Okay, so Yosef, we got Rosh Hashanah coming up. We have 5 now sessions under our belt, And this fifth one accomplishment, we want to make it practical. So what do we do over here? Because again, let's state the obvious. But what we're here doing is learning the vital organs of how you're going to be a happier person. You're just going to be a more successful person, a happier person, a healthier person. So accomplishment is one of the 5 factors that contribute to it. How does that play itself out in real time?
So great. Let me try and give some practical tips here. And like you said, Shmuel, I think that, especially leading into the world of Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, this is a time when we think about real goals in our life, not just, professional goals that we're trying to accomplish, but real goals as far as who we are as people. And let me try and give you just a couple of quick practical tips, but I really want to spend some time in the last one. Number 1, there's some great books I recommend that can help you with habits. These are 2 great books, which I highly recommend, and they are easy reads, and they can be very helpful. Number 2 is the world of SMART goals. Like we mentioned before, anytime you're looking to set a goal and you want to really make it happen, what you got to do is you got to really say to yourself, is this a SMART goal or not? And you have to basically take every goal that you have and run it through the SMART system. Does it hit the S requirement, the M requirement, blah, blah, blah? And you run every goal through there. And if the answer is it doesn't hit all aspects of the SMART goal, it's not the right goal. Go back to the drawing board and figure it out.
Meaning, but what I'm hearing also is that we have to be careful, because it's not just I set goals. There's actually a price to pay for setting the wrong goals.
100%.
Either the wrong goals because you'll achieve them, but they're not giving you what you actually need at the other side, or you'll set the goals in the wrong way and you won't achieve them and create a real negative psychology around your sense of worth, productivity, and success.
Right. So let me tell you the third thing, which is really like it's the world of urgency. And what you really see in life is something quite fascinating. Okay. When people really want things, they make it happen. They think outside the box. They network. They figure out other resources. They stay up late at night. When we really want things as individuals, you see people can accomplish a tremendous amount. And a lot of times what happens, especially with like our deeper life goals, you want to be a good parent, you want to be good this, and you want all these things, is that a lot of times what happens is, even though we say all the right things and we intellectually want those things as well, since it's not really deep down inside a top priority, it ends up being something you talk about for a long time, and you can speak about it, but you don't really make any progress because it's not something which is really a top priority, of something that's really urgent and important to you. And that's why I've seen the world of accomplishment, that the world of accomplishment looks so different when things are really high on your priority list. But a lot of times we get stuck, especially in these deeper life goals, especially happens this time of year, Rosh Hashanah time, is that we know the right things that we should yearn for. We know the things that we want to, what we want said about us after we leave this world. But since it's only a nice intellectual idea, it's not, unfortunately, honestly, what we really want, it's not a top priority for us, then these things remain things that we talk about a lot and things we yearn for, but we don't actually see a lot of change.
Okay. Right. Urgent.
A bit heavy.
It's a bit heavy. Yeah.
A bit heavy. But it's amazing. You see people, when people really, really want things, they make it happen. I always know when students come to me to ask me, how to work on this, or, how they can fix this habit, it's usually a sign that they don't really want it so much. Because if they really wanted it, they wouldn't need me. They figure out a way. They figure out some sort of way of how to make it happen. And it's really, when it comes to the world of accomplishment, when people do want things, watch out, world. It's amazing what people have the ability to do.
I mean, it's really a theme through all of this, that knowing yourself, right? When we spoke about meaning, that you have to know it. You have to know what you're good at, right? We spoke about engagement or having a flow. Well, when are you going to be engaged in something? When you're actually tapping in to the things that make you tick, your frequency. Right. You gotta figure those things out, because the world is shoving messages at you day in and day out of what they think the merit, the value of life in this 21st century is worth, and telling you in society what you should be. But who says that those things have anything to do with your natural skills? I was for many years, like, would counsel students in career. I was like, okay, fine, let's do this, right? As an experiment, let's go back 2 centuries and tell me what you would be if you were living in in Azerbaijan, in a Jewish community, whatever. Like, tell me what you'd be. What would you have been? What do you mean? I'm a computer programmer. Yeah, but like, you're a computer programmer today because you're hooked on your iPhone and that's all you know. Why can't you extrapolate what you should be able to have been in any century, in any culture, in any society, and understand that that's an expression of you. And you're saying your accomplishment, the power of accomplishment is not just, okay, I set my task here and I finish it and tick, tick, I did that, my daily tasks. Although, let's face it, it feels really great if you ever use that silly little daily task reminder on the phone and you actually click those things off. Okay, but that's not going to last. That's not big. You're saying the real investment is when you're tapping into who you are and you're letting those things come out.
Right. That's why it's interesting. If you look at the whole science behind PERMA, I mean, we're wrapping up PERMA, but how do you achieve the most PERMA in your life? Okay, so if you look at the science of PERMA, the way it works is you basically have, if these are the 5 elements of PERMA, the root of all PERMA, the real, Red Bull of PERMA that really makes PERMA come alive is when a person does what? Is when a person does all 5 of these elements according to their natural strengths.
Right.
Natural strengths are the backbone. If there's a picture I could put up here, these are the fruits of the tree. But there's a root that everything comes from, which is really, and this is what's spoken about in the field of positive psychology, the importance of a person not only knowing what their natural strengths are, but living accordingly. That will allow you to achieve the most amount of PERMA possible, because how you, Shmuel Lynn, can achieve PERMA in the best possible way is going to be very different than how I can get there.
Well, I think that's a fitting segue into wrapping up what we've done here these last 5 weeks. Because it's great working with you, but it's awesome to see how you've done that. I mean, I hope also. I tell people, they always ask about. There's a third brother over here. He's right in the middle, right there. You can't see him back there somewhere. Okay, behind the window over there. But the 3 of us are like the Bermuda Triangle of personalities, right? We have different strengths, really different ways of seeing the world. And yet we've all done. I think the beauty of a serious Jewish life is that it's really pushing you, to find the music in the notes of life, right? You can't, you're watching the U.S. Open right now. Like you have to play by the rules, and you have to learn how to hit a forehand, and you have to learn strategy. You have to learn all these things. But then what comes out is your unique, amazing game, and your dynamic that you bring that's fully yours. And a Jewish life, even though it seems like robotic and it's not at all, it's actually just the notes on the page, but you play that music. And I think Rabbi Dr. Yosef Lynn, you do that beautifully with your strengths and who you are as a person, and the profession you've chosen, and the way in which you interact and contribute to the world. I think it's really a testament to everything you've been teaching here, which is why you're the one teaching it. Oh, hey, where are you getting this stuff? And whatever archive. Okay, yeah.
Where'd you get that from?
I don't want to know, but whatever's in the bag, leave it there.
Right.
I will say that Rosh Hashanah is coming up, and we have this mitzvah of shofar. I got ram's horn. What is it? Some old antiquated echo of some wartime trumpet or. Now we understand that this is there's a soul in everybody, and it's unique, and the collective soul of the Jewish people has a chance to speak out on this day. And it's called Rosh Hashanah because it's an amazing thing. You have to use the noggin, the head here, the Rosh of the year. We don't say New Year, Shana Chadasha. We say Rosh Hashanah. It's the head, because here, as Jews, we understand the beginning of everything is the plan. You have to make a blueprint for yourself. You have to know who you are. You have to stand in front of the Almighty and say, I know who I am. We'll deal with the report card from last year in a little bit. but I'm here to make a declaration in front of you that this is my plan. This is who I'm going to be. This is what I'm setting my mind to. This is the vision of what I can make of myself with your help. And this is something to go, and then to what you said, the grit and the willpower and the soul and the life that has been breathed into us, that primal scream, so to speak, reaching out through the beauty of the design of what we bring to the table is our blueprint. That's the Rosh Hashanah. Then the soul and the willpower and the grit and the life force that comes through, right, to send us into the coming year. That's how we go into a new year. Okay, and then after that, if you really have that super clear and you're inspired by that, then you can sit here and do the hard work of saying, okay, fine. Remember the kid who's bad in school doesn't care that he gets a bad grade in the report card. Doesn't care. He's going to get one next year. Also, having a grand time doing that, right? It's the person who has real goals that the bad grades hurt. We'll leave with one thing. And for those of you who watch this, my brother has seminars called Greatness Within Seminars. I'm sure that's done the ticker tape down there, and you should sign up for them, and we'll have a lot of information available to you. He's at yoseflynn.com, greatnesswithin.com, seminars.com, and you should really see what he has over there. And of course, come to what we have over here, More Manhattan, moremanhattan.org, and all the things that are going on. And we're beginning to do things now on location. Thank God, once again. Hopefully, things will get better as we go.
Amen.
Yeah. And Yosef, I say it's really been wonderful working with you, and I really enjoyed the opportunity. I look forward to it again. I'm sure we'll get picked up by some really rocking cable TV station, and we'll be able to do this for a living. Okay, but definitely doing it from love for sure. So thank you for joining. It's been really awesome.
It's been an absolute pleasure, and looking forward to doing some events in person very soon as well.
That's it. Let's hope this 5-part summer series can turn into like a big retreat. We can pack it all into a weekend.
And sign me up.
Right. And I wish everyone out there a Shana Tova U'Metuka, a sweet and happy new year. It should be a year of health, a year of positivity, of happiness, accomplishment, of positive, let's go to positive emotions, of engagement, of relationships, of meaning and accomplishments, all those things combined. You should do it in the way that is your music, and we'll be really happy if some of that sounds a little Jewish also. Okay, so put those things together and you've got a shot at really, really, really upping your game. And we're going to do the same on our end also. Just because we're the professionals doesn't mean we don't have a lot to do as well. Okay, thank you all for joining. Please, if you didn't see the other ones, they're there somewhere on Facebook, YouTube. Join us for a year of hard work and hopefully, God willing, health and great success. Shana Tova. Thank you very much. And thank you to Michael, our producers, and to Bianca, and to everyone for organizing this. Okay, thank you for all the hard work there. There's been a lot of really great people involved to make this happen, and we're very grateful. Thank you very much. Have a good night, everyone.